Alright, hey guys, this video is going to go over solving equations with decimals. Now we've been solving equations already this year. All we're adding in is decimals. You still use the same exact steps. There's just decimals, and you may use a calculator on these. Alright, so here is our first one. If you want to copy this down into your notes, 0.5x minus negative x plus 3 equals x minus 5. So first step that you want to do is draw your line down, and you need to simplify the first side. So I'm going to just rewrite 0.5x. Okay, and then remember it says minus everything inside these parentheses, or do the opposite of everything inside there. So the opposite of negative x is plus x, and then the opposite of 3 is minus 3. All right, our next step then is just to combine my like terms. I have 0.5x and another x. Now just one x, that's the same as saying just 1. So 1 plus 0.5, that gives me 1.5x, and then minus 3. And then on this side, we have x minus 5. Okay, so now on problems like this, we want to start with the x's. Which x do we have, or which side do we have less of? Well, on this side, we just have 1x. This side is 1.5x, so I'm going to take away an x from both sides. Okay, that side cancels. Now remember, this is the same as saying minus 1x. So 1.5 take away 1 is 0.5x, and then minus 3 equals negative 5. Okay, my next step is I'm going to add 3 to both sides so I can get the x by itself. So that cancels. Over here, I have negative 5 plus 3, which gives me negative 2 equals 0.5x. Now, the last step, which isn't real difficult, it's the same as any other time we do this, is you divide by whatever's with the x. Well, it's 0.5, so I'm going to divide by 0.5. Okay, so now here's where you can use your calculator if you want. So 2 divided by 0.5. Think about how many halves fit into 2. Well, the answer is x equals, it's 4, and then it was negative. So my answer is x equals negative 4. So I just solved an equation problem with decimals, and I did it the same way I do normal problems. All right, let's try another one. Now this one's a little bit longer, so you might want to push pause and write this problem down. Okay, I'm going to just draw my line down. All right, first thing that I want to do is simplify. So it starts out as 0.25x. I'll just keep that. And then it says minus everything inside there. So do the opposite of everything inside there. So the opposite of negative 0.5x is plus 0.5x. And then the opposite of plus 1.75 is minus 1.75. Okay, now I'm going to stay on that same side, and I'm going to combine my x's. So 0.25 and 0.5. I know a lot of people are like, okay, I'm going to put those together. If you put those together, you have to line up the decimals when you add. So 0.5, you can add a 0 there. 0.50x, that would give you 0.75x. And then minus 1.75 equals, on the other side, x minus 1.25. Okay, so now start with your x's. Which is smaller, 0.75x or x? Well, this isn't even a full x. This one is. So I'm going to take away 0.75x. So subtract 0.75. Over here, I'm going to subtract 0.75x. When I do that, remember, think of this as a 1. So 1 take away 0.75 gives you 0.25x. And then minus 1.25 equals, on this side, I still have negative 1.75. Okay, so now I want to get this x all by itself, so I have to get rid of this negative 1.25. So I'm going to add 1.25 to both sides. Okay, that side cancels, so I'm left with 0.25x equals, okay, so now you guys got to work that out. So 1.75, take away the 1.25 gives me 0.5, and it's negative. Okay, one last step. You divide by whatever's with the x. So I divide by 0.25, divide by 0.25, and again, you can use your calculator here. When I do that, I get x equals negative 2. Okay, and that makes sense, because think about how many quarters fit into 0.5. 2 of them do, right? And then a negative divided by a positive is a negative. Okay, we're going to try one more. So we have 7x minus 0.15 equals 2x plus 0.6. Okay, so let's start with our x's. I get rid of the smaller one, so I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. Okay, that side cancels, and I end up with 5x minus 0.15 equals 0.6. Okay, my next step, I want to get the 5x by itself over here, so I need to get rid of this. So instead of subtracting 0.15, I'm going to add 0.15. That cancels. Over here, add 0.15. Now, if you're doing this, remember you got to line your decimals up, so I'll just add a 0 there. And I get to add those. I end up with 0.75 equals 5x. Okay, one last step. I'm going to divide by 5. Okay, so I end up with x equals, so if you do 0.75 divided by 5, you end up with 0.15. So my answer is x equals 0.15. All right, so what we learned in this video are our steps for solving equations with decimals are the same. First, you simplify both sides, okay? Then you try to get the x's on one side, or the variable. Okay, so you need to get that just on one side by getting rid of the smaller one. Okay, and then once you get the variable on one side, you want to get that all alone. Get the variable alone, so get rid of whatever's over there with it. Okay, and then your last step is you need to divide. Okay, if there's like 3x or 0.15x, you divide. Okay, if it just says x equals 4, then you just keep it. But those are your kind of steps broken down real simple. So now you're going to try some.